Why you do this? Understand yourself. Why does having more options make you feel worse instead of better? Why is it that the more you try to figure things out, the more confused you become? You tell yourself you just need more clarity, more information, more time, but something feels off, because you're not moving forward. You're circling, thinking, rethinking, replaying, and no matter how much you analyze, nothing actually feels right. It's like every choice could work, but also, every choice could fail. So you hesitate, and that hesitation slowly turns into pressure. Because now it's not just about choosing, it's about choosing correctly, and suddenly, every decision feels heavier than it should. And here's the part that gets under your skin. You know you're overthinking, you see the pattern, but you still can't break out of it. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why more choices are making you feel stuck, and how to finally cut through the noise without needing perfect clarity. First, you've probably noticed this already. You sit there, thinking about what to do next. Should you go this way? Or that way? This option feels right, but that one feels safer. And then a third option shows up, and suddenly everything shifts again. So instead of deciding, you pause. You open another tab, watch another video, search for another answer. Because maybe, just maybe, there's a better choice you haven't seen yet. And at first, that feels smart. It feels responsible, like you're doing the right thing by not rushing. But over time, something changes. That thinking doesn't bring clarity. It brings noise, because now you're not just choosing between options. You're choosing between identities, futures, versions of yourself, and that's where it gets heavy. Because now it's not, what should I do? It's, who should I be? Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain is not designed to handle unlimited options. It's designed to survive, and survival requires speed, simplicity, clear direction. But modern life gives you the opposite. Endless choices, endless comparisons, endless possibilities. So your brain does something subtle. It stops trying to decide, and starts trying to protect you from making the wrong decision. And this is where everything shifts. Because now you're not choosing from clarity. You're choosing from fear. Fear of regret, fear of missing out, fear of choosing something that won't last. So instead of moving forward, you stay in evaluation mode. And evaluation mode feels productive. But it's actually where progress dies. Think about the last time you had to make a decision. Not a small one, a real one, something that mattered. You probably felt that pressure building. That tight feeling in your chest. That sense that this choice could change everything. And suddenly, it wasn't just a decision anymore. It became a test of your intelligence, your awareness, your future. And that's when emotions step in. Doubt, second guessing, that quiet voice saying, what if you mess this up? And once that voice appears, everything becomes unstable. Because now every option feels risky, even the good ones. And instead of trusting yourself, you start looking outside. For confirmation, for validation, for certainty. But certainty never comes, only more options. This isn't just mental, it's physiological. Your nervous system reads uncertainty as a form of threat. Not danger like a predator, but danger like instability. And your system does not like instability. So it tries to regain control. By scanning, analyzing, comparing, over and over again. Because if it can just find the right answer, you'll finally feel safe. But here's the problem. The more you scan, the more variables you see. The more variables you see, the less safe you feel. So your nervous system speeds up. Your thoughts get louder. Your body gets more tense. And suddenly, you're not just thinking anymore. You're overloaded. Logically, more options should be better. More freedom, more opportunity, more control. That's what you've been told. But in reality, more options create more complexity. And complexity creates friction. Because every option requires evaluation, comparison, prediction, and your brain tries to simulate every possible outcome. What if this works? What if it doesn't? What if the other option was better? And this never ends, because there is no final answer. Only trade-offs. And when your brain sees trade-offs, it struggles. Because it wants certainty. But life doesn't offer certainty. It offers direction. And if you're waiting for certainty, you'll stay stuck in thinking forever. Here's the pattern you're stuck in. You feel the need to choose. So you start exploring options. At first, it feels exciting. Possibilities, ideas, new directions. Then doubt enters. You start comparing option A versus option B. Then option C appears. Then D, then E, and suddenly, what started as clarity turns into confusion. So you pause, you delay, you tell yourself, I'll decide later. but later becomes tomorrow, then next week, then, when I feel more clear. And the pattern repeats, every time. Inside you, there are two forces pulling in opposite directions. One part of you wants to move, to choose, to commit, to go forward. It's tired of being stuck. But another part of you resists. It wants to wait, to be sure, to avoid mistakes. And both sides feel right. That's what makes it so hard. Because it's not right versus wrong. It's safe versus growth. And when those collide, you freeze. Because moving forward feels risky. But staying still feels suffocating. So you sit in between. Aware, but inactive. This is the loop. You feel pressure to decide. You start thinking. You get overwhelmed. You delay. You feel relief. Then guilt. Then pressure again. So you go back into thinking. More options. More analysis. More confusion. And each time, the loop gets stronger. Because your brain learns. Thinking equals control. Waiting equals safety. So it reinforces the pattern. Even though it's what's keeping you stuck. And this is why it feels automatic. Because it is. The root isn't that you have too many options. It's that you've been trained to believe there is a perfect choice. One right path. One correct move. One decision that guarantees success. But that belief is the trap. Because it makes every decision feel final. Irreversible. Heavy. So instead of seeing choices as experiments, you see them as commitments. And commitments feel permanent. And permanent feels dangerous. So you avoid choosing. Not because you're weak, but because you're trying to protect your future. This also ties into how you see yourself. You don't just want to make a decision. You want to make a good decision. Because that reflects who you are. Smart, aware, capable. So when you hesitate, it doesn't just feel like confusion. It feels like failure. Like, why can't I figure this out? And that question hits deeper than it should. Because now it's not about the choice. It's about you. And the more pressure you put on yourself to be right, the harder it becomes to move. But here's something important. The fact that you're thinking this deeply means you're not careless. You're not impulsive. You're not disconnected. You're aware. And that awareness is not the problem. It's actually your strength. But right now, it's misdirected. Because instead of using awareness to move, you're using it to delay. And once you see that, something starts to shift. Because now you're not broken. You're just stuck in a pattern that makes sense. So instead of asking, what's the right choice? Ask something different. What's a good enough direction? Not perfect, not final, just good enough to move. Because movement creates clarity, not thinking. And this is uncomfortable at first. Because you'll feel like you're acting without full certainty. But that's the point. You're not removing uncertainty. You're learning to move with it. Then do something even simpler. Reduce your options, not mentally, physically. Close tabs. Ignore extra paths. Pick 2 options max. And choose between them. Because your brain works better with limits. Limits create focus. Focus creates action. And action creates feedback. And feedback gives you real clarity. Not imagined clarity. Here's the real shift. Stop treating decisions like permanent identity choices. Start treating them like tests. Because when you test, you remove pressure. You're not choosing your future forever. You're choosing your next step. And if it doesn't work, you adjust. That's how real clarity is built. Through movement, through experience, through correction, not through endless thinking. And once you adopt this, something powerful happens. Decisions become lighter. You stop needing certainty. And you start trusting your ability to adapt. You were never stuck because you had too many choices. You were stuck because you thought you had to choose perfectly. But life doesn't reward perfect choices. It rewards movement, awareness, adjustment, courage, and the fact that you've been thinking this deeply means you're already ahead. You see patterns others ignore. You feel things others suppress. And once you redirect that, you don't just move forward. You move intelligently. So here's the real question. If you stop trying to make the perfect choice, what would you choose right now?